Good morning, fathers of daughters. This is FMB Martin. Welcome to another live stream. Yes, sir. We are here today for another live stream. Fathers of daughters, I welcome you all, regardless of your ethnic group, background, and or culture. Mi amigos, bienvenidos, aquí, hoy, gracias. Okay, fathers, we are here today. And we're going to be talking about the consequences of an absent father. Let me repeat that. We are going to be talking about the consequences of an absent father. Okay, fathers. As a father of 4 adult daughters, 36, 30, 26, and 24, I have been through all the stages of development of our daughters, of our baby girls. I've raised four amazing adult women, young women. They're amazing. They're living their best lives. They're doing their thing. They are decent women. They're kind women. They're compassionate women. They're empathetic women. And I know, being a father of baby girls, if we are not a part of their lives, birth to 18 years of age, anything and everything can happen to our baby girls' fathers. So, fathers, when we talk about the consequences of an absent father, there's so many consequences, fathers. I worked in the criminal justice system for 20 years professionally. I've been a certified paralegal since 1984, and I am a former state of Colorado juvenile probation officer. I also worked in K-12 education for 10 years, former teacher, restorative justice coordinator, and dean of students, both middle school and high school. So I know what I'm talking about, fathers. And what I also know, raising 4 daughters from birth to 18, what I do know is that when there is an absent father in the lives of our baby girls, a lot of things can happen to them. Our daughters can be subject to the criminal justice system. Our daughters can be subject to dropping out of school. There's a lot of things that can happen to our daughters directly when they don't have fathers in their lives because they're not protected and safe. Fathers protect and provide safety for their baby girls, for their children. So fathers, when our daughters are lacking a father in their life, uncles, male first cousins, they are subject to the world. And the world will not be kind to our baby girls. It's just not going to happen, fathers. When we discuss and look at what can happen to our baby girls, so many things can come at them. So many things can come for them. Exploitation from boys, from men, dropping out of school, low self-esteem. Violence can be brought to them. So fathers, we have a huge responsibility to be a part of their lives. And if we're not, the world is waiting for them, fathers. Our daughters are subject to ending up on the pole, making fast money in gentlemen's clubs, being exploited by men, by boys, because their fathers have not been in their lives, because their fathers have not taught them how to interact with men, how to interact with boys, how to survive amongst men, amongst boys. It is so critical for fathers to be in their daughters' lives. So fathers, I have some amazing videos today that I want to share. And these videos they're good. I do a lot of research. Fathers, as you know, grow that YouTube channel. What we're all about here is resources through videos, through research, through studies, providing solutions. Educationally, that's what I do here at Grow That YouTube channel. This is what I do every week. I live stream once a week, fathers. And I just want to make sure when I do my research, I'm providing fathers with the most up-to-date, best information that's out there through videos, through visualization. Fathers, the one thing I know is when we see it for ourselves, it takes on a different meaning. When we hear it for ourselves, it takes on a different meaning. So I have to make sure when I'm researching, I come across many, many videos. YouTube is an incredible source of information for fathers of daughters. There's tutorials. There's just a lot of good information that could help us make informed decisions, that could help us feel at ease, that could help us understand our sense of urgency and what it takes to build long-term sustainable relationships with our baby girls' fathers. So fathers, I want to share these videos with you. I want you to take it all in. I want you to process what is being presented to you. I want you to be objective. But more than anything else, I want you to commit. I want you to commit to your daughters. I want you to commit to your children. I'm not here to pass judgment. What I'm here to do is help educate fathers who may be struggling. And I'm sure there's a lot of fathers out there that are struggling. I didn't have the information that I'm providing to you today when I was raising my baby girls. Yes, YouTube was there, but it wasn't what it is today. So I am grateful and I am thankful for YouTube. And like I said, YouTube can help all fathers through visualization, okay? So many videos, a ton of information. Fathers, all you have to do is do your own research. And I encourage you to always do your own research, fathers, because there's nothing like finding information for yourself. Okay? There's plenty of resources that are out there. I'm just one of many resources that are available for fathers of daughters. Okay, fathers, let's get busy with these videos. And like I said, I need you to have an open mind. I need you to have an open spirit. Okay? And process what we're going to be looking at today, fathers. Okay, fathers, this is the first video.
COVID-19 was declared a public health emergency in the United States 2 years ago this week. Little did we know what we were in for.
Yes, just a month later, as we know, schools closed for the first time. And since then, tens of thousands of students have struggled to keep up. Our 13 Investigates team has been tracking these lost students. And tonight, Ted Oberg and our team show us how the Houston area is paying an outsized price, even as some districts fight incredibly hard to get each student back.
There are all sorts of reasons Gianni Juarez never thought she'd be here.
Congratulations to you, class of 2022.
Maybe most of all, she herself had given up on her high school diploma, momentarily content to be one of the tens of thousands of students who bailed on school in the Houston area alone during this pandemic.
But look at us now. We finally made it.
But there she was just days ago, not only graduating, but at the head of her class at the Pace Center, Pearland's alternative high school, thanking the people who got her back in class and across her finish line.
If it wasn't for each of you, I would be in the streets right now or probably in jail.
Let that sink in for just a minute.
Yeah, it was during COVID. Like, just one day I was like, you know what? I'm not going to school anymore. Like, I'm just done.
And for nearly a month, she didn't go until Susan Holloway and her team came to find Gianni.
We all knew her already. And then she had a teacher that was a mentor. You know, she turned this way, I'm not going to do it. And she would have a person, and then another person, and another person. Anywhere she turned, she would have a person saying, no, you need to finish. You're too close. You're too close.
Susan Holloway is Pearland's Director of Student Outreach and Attendance.
What's your dropout rate?
1%, less than 1%.
Really?
Really.
Holloway knows her team is setting a standard.
So how many kids did you not find?
About 10.
Out of?
21,000.
State figures show it's actually just 8 students, putting Pearland near the best in dropout rates statewide. But dropout rates only look at high school age students. And when we look at all age groups, even Pearland's COVID-era enrollment is down. Holloway, who is president of the Texas Association for Truancy and Dropout Prevention, knows COVID has pushed kids on the edge even further away.
Further away, for sure. I think it did. those kids a lot of times want to have the face-to-face, they want to have the connections. And so it was really difficult.
Our ongoing investigation of students in Texas revealed enrollment this year is down more than 76,000 students statewide compared to the year the pandemic started. More than half of that enrollment drop, nearly 39,000 students, comes from just 10 Houston area districts. 11% of all students in ALEAF are gone, nearly 9% in HISD, and the same in Spring. We've talked about the educational loss, but it's more than that. In Harris County, adults without a high school diploma make roughly $14,500 less every year compared to the overall average.
Because I like a small environment.
The key to getting those kids back in school is making them and their families feel connected, says Holloway, making sure Gianni, who'd given up and was headed towards jail, she said, was eager to head to class instead.
I love that class. That's my favorite class.
Susan Holloway knows it's not always about school.
We took school supplies, we took hygiene, we took food, we took detergent. You have to meet their basic needs before you can talk about school. And especially during COVID, I think, because they had a lot of barriers.
Gianni Juarez.
I'm very proud of myself.
She should be, but we know there are 76,000 more students who need to be too.
They're tossing, and they're tossing.
I mean, it makes my heart like feel good. Like it makes me feel good. Like, cause I like for my mom to see me like do good. Like, Mom, I'm about to graduate.
With her diploma in hand, Gianni now says she's headed for the U.S. Air Force. HISD is the state's largest district, and it's facing serious problems, which not only mean lost students, but could eventually mean lost money. If HISD can't make up their enrollment losses, it could cost the district $225 million eventually. So tomorrow at 6, we look at just how hard HISD is working to find its lost students, some of the unique challenges they face, and we hit the streets with 2 of the district's hardest working dropout specialists, Eric.
Well, Ted, no doubt this is an impressive effort, but it looks time consuming and expensive. So is this something that other districts can really duplicate?
It's a question of resources, right? Resources and desire. Do other districts want to? In Pearland, they know they have one of the largest teams statewide compared to their student population to go after this. They also devote an awful lot of money to it. Eric, when you think about it, normal classrooms, 1 teacher, 25 kids. In these instances, it's several adults looking for 1 kid.
Okay, fathers, what are your thoughts on that first video? Excellent video, fathers, excellent. One thing I can tell you, being a former state of Colorado juvenile probation officer, 20 years working in the criminal justice system, there is a direct link between not graduating high school and the criminal justice system, a direct link. And you heard in the video when the young lady said, she could have ended up in the criminal justice system. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because there's a direct link. If our baby girls do not graduate from high school, they end up in the criminal justice system. And more than likely, they definitely will end up on the pole, dancing in front of strangers in gentlemen's clubs, taking off their clothes, making that fast money. That's the direct link and the correlation of the criminal justice system and K-12 education. They go hand in hand. I have done a few videos speaking about the criminal justice system as well as K-12 education and how they're linked. And if our daughters don't graduate from high school. So the struggle is real, fathers. The struggle is definitely real. And one of the things, a lot of these kids, they haven't bounced back from COVID. And it's unfortunate because a lot of these baby girls, they don't have fathers. They do not. So they're struggling with their mental health. They're struggling with trying to graduate from high school. They're struggling not being able to find work. They're just struggling as young women. They're very, very struggling right now. So fathers of daughters, we have an opportunity here, birth to 18 years of age, to ensure the protection and safety of our baby girls. We do. We have to show our baby girls the other side, fathers. Okay? And it starts with being a part of their life, birth to 18. because so many things can happen. So many things can come in. When the government gets involved in our lives because our daughters are struggling, it's not good. I can promise you. You do not want your daughters involved in the criminal justice system. You do not want your family involved in the criminal justice system. I've said this in many of my videos, and I mean it. Because if the criminal justice system gets involved, parents, you no longer have a say. The criminal justice system will come into your life and shape your life, and it will turn your world upside down as a family unit. Promise me that's what will happen. Okay, fathers, I've got 2 videos that I'm going to be showing back to back. And one of them, the first video is showing a runaway teen and what has happened to her in her life. And the second one is showing a young prostitute who started prostituting at 13 years of age because they didn't have their fathers in their life. And the world came for these young women. And the world won or is winning. Okay, fathers? So these next 2 videos, back to back. Pay attention, fathers, because if we're not available and we're not in our daughters' lives, this is part of it. Okay? What we do here at Grow That YouTube channel, we deal with the real. That's what we're dealing with, fathers. You need to see it for yourselves visually, right? So you can understand our sense of urgency. Okay, fathers, let me get it set up. Sorry about this, fathers. Give me a second. I'm working on it. You know how technology is. Okay, fathers. Here's the second video, and then I'll run the third video right behind it.
All right, Maddie. Maddie, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I've grown up in a couple different states: Arizona, Oregon, Wyoming, and here.
And tell me about your childhood. You had both your parents when you were a child?
I didn't have a childhood, really. I was always getting left places by my biological parents, and when I was taken from them, foster care and getting adopted wasn't really good, and then the adoption family. And I kind of got really on bad terms, and I came out here.
How did your biological parents lose you?
My mom's a drug addict and a prostitute, and then my dad is in prison.
So you went to the foster system at what age?
5.
How was that experience?
It wasn't good. I just went to one home. The first day I went to one home, and then they didn't want us, so then I went to the next home. That home ended up adopting us 2 years later. And until I was 12, I lived with them before I went to mental health hospitals. After that, I was sent to live with my brother because he was my only option, and I didn't know him before I went to go live with him. And then I came out here.
How was the time you spent with your brother?
It was okay. It was better than being at home with the foster parents, but it wasn't the best, but it was still better.
Any abuse when you were a kid?
Yeah, I've had sexual abuse and physical abuse and emotional abuse.
from the foster parent?
Yeah.
What age was that going on?
From 8 years old all the way up until I was 15. I was getting abused by the mom. She'd hit me, and she'd always say that she didn't love me or other stuff. And the dad, in 3rd grade, he started sexual abusing until I was in 7th grade.
And then you went on your own at what age?
15,
Where'd you go?
out here.
To LA? You've been homeless since when?
June 24th, 2019.
So you had a job for a while?
No,
How old are you?
I'm 16 and a half.
Oh, you're 16? You look older.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
I would not have guessed you to be 16. So you have mental health issues as well?
I tried,
I mean, it's hard not to with the childhood you have.
yeah, I tried everything possible to get out of the house because I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't stay there and keep getting hit or abused. And it was really starting to weigh on me, so I started cutting myself, and I overdosed when I was 12 on a whole bunch of pills. Like 8, 9 different kind of pills. And social workers in Oregon didn't do anything because they deemed the house safe.
So did you go to high school at all?
Yeah, I went to the first year of high school, 9th grade. And I'm a little above 9th grade, but other than that, I haven't continued back up.
And where do you stay now? You're in a tent?
Yeah.
Are you using drugs at all?
Sometimes I do, but I've looked up a lot and seeing a lot of people change on it. And the new drug, that fentanyl, that came out, I'm starting to slow down, but sometimes I relapse.
So you're using fentanyl?
Because I get bored. Oh no, I don't use fentanyl.
What do you use?
Most of the time I use crystal and I smoke it. I used to shoot it up, but I almost died from that.
Are you using any other drugs, heroin or crack?
I used heroin one time. It was not my drug. And I used crack one time, but I didn't feel anything from it.
How are you supporting yourself? What do you do for money now?
Recycling. I also have family out here. And they're not like my blood family. They're just people I've met out here who have watched over me and taken care of me.
Have you had any bad things happen to you while you've been down here on Skid Row? You seem like you might be a little more vulnerable target than most folks.
Yeah, people, like, just because I'm white, that makes me a target. And people are really racist out here. Even them being adults, not being rude, I'm more of an adult than a lot of people out here because they like to start drama and it's just entertainment for them. I've been sexually abused out here.
What kind of stuff has happened here?
Guys touching me in my sleep, some guys coming on me. I had a boyfriend, my first boyfriend, who used to beat me up every day.
Do you find yourself doing things outside of what you'd normally allow yourself to do since you've been down here?
I think the only thing is really smoking and maybe eating food that I wouldn't normally eat on an everyday basis. But being out here has made me also become more grown because I see how people are, and I do not want to be my final resting spot out here. But
you still have hope for a better life?
Mm-hmm. But I know that the foster care system is not it's not the right choice for me. So I know if I could just push through this until I could just make it till I'm 18 and then do online school and get an SRO and then get a job. And
That'd be great. Because you don't seem to fit down here.
no,
You don't seem to be meant for this.
but at the same time, I have people who make me fit in. Like they just support. Like they don't like me being down here, but they always have my back and everything. So family out here.
Yeah, I mean, getting away from this neighborhood would probably be a healthy thing for you.
I don't know if I could do that because of people out here who I've connected with who are good for me, but at the same time, that's the only part that would scare me. I would never be able to see them again.
Do you feel like this life on Skid Row is a good fit for you? I mean, a lot of people feel like this is their home eventually.
It's home. It is home. It does grow on you, but everybody hates it. The gangbangers, they all hate it, and they regret going into the gangs, but they still do it because once you're in a gang, you can't really go backwards. And it's really hard. Like, there will be days where it rains and there's no food. You go 5 days without food, soaking wet with no clothes. But it'll all come to you eventually. And it depends on what your hustle is. A lot of people hustle and they hoe, or they sell drugs, or kill people. It all depends on the person.
When were you first introduced to drugs? When did you first get introduced to drugs?
We made 28, 27 of June last year. Within the first month, I started shooting up, and I did 2 back-to-back shots and almost died from that. And that scared me enough not to do shots anymore.
Are you scared that maybe if you spend too much time down here, you'll have changed?
I've changed a lot since being down here. I've learned more about myself and things I didn't like anger. But I guess that's a lot about being hurt. And I do put up with a lot. Like, I get a lot of bullying, and there's a lot of not fitting in that it doesn't help. And people are scared because of my age. But I have also changed in a good way too. I'm just scared that this place is, and they don't want nobody to succeed, or you usually end up following the crowd. And I'm afraid that I might die out here if I'm not strong enough, or if I do the wrong mistake on accident because I'm mad or something. But other than that, I'm not really afraid of being out here.
Are you afraid of maybe a change in your personality? Your values might change by being down here over time.
To a certain point,
You might become a harder, tougher version of the softer, kinder girl that you once were.
yeah, to a certain point, yes. But also, it has opened my eyes because the world is a very cruel place. Like, everywhere is different, but it's also teaching me a lot to see right through the bullshit of people and lying and alternative motives that people have. Because a lot of people tell you something to tell you it to get what they want out of the situation instead of what is best for you. And the saying that you are born alone and you die alone is very true, but you can't live life alone, but you can't also rely on everybody a lot.
All right, Maddie. Well, thank you for coming in and talking with me. Good luck with getting out of Skid Row and getting your life together. It'd be really nice to see you find something that takes you away from here and get your life back on track.
If it was a chance that I could get schooling and still be out here and my SRO and my job legally, I'd do all of it. I'd just live on my own, and so I could get a real apartment instead of an SRO.
All right, Maddie. Well, good luck, and I wish the best for you.
Thank you.
All right, China. All right, China. China, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
Oakland.
Oakland?
hmm
And tell me about your family. You had both your parents when you grew up?
My mom died around when I was like 7. She died because my dad was beating on her and stuff, beating her up, and he ended up killing her. So now he's in jail for life. So really, I had to go on my own and do everything on my own. Starting at 13, 16 now. Been doing this 3 years.
You started working the streets at 13? And who raised you?
Who raised me? My uncle.
Your uncle?
So I was out here starting from 13 to now, raised in the Nickerson Gardens
Yeah, South Central LA.
projects.
So you're 16 now?
Yeah.
And so you're working Figueroa Street?
Yeah, I work in Europe. I don't work it as much, but I work almost like every night, every day. It's a struggle. Like I would want to get out of this like so bad. It's a lot that comes with you working on Fig. You're risking your life every day. So it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna make something out of myself one day though.
I'm sorry?
I'm gonna make something out of myself one day though.
That's good. You're in school still?
No, I graduated because I did homeschool. So I graduated already.
So you're 16, but you graduated high school already?
Mm-hmm.
You're a good student?
Yep, I wanted to graduate early because I know what I do, and I can't do that at the same time, and I'm not going to be a fail in life because I want to work on Fig, so I had to do both at the same time, and that's what I did, and yeah, it got me somewhere though.
So your childhood sounds very rough because you lost your parents.
Yeah.
How was it after your dad went to prison and you lost your mom?
It was hard because even though my mom and dad used to fight a lot, I was so close with my dad and I was so close with my mom. If my mama didn't have it, my daddy did. If my daddy didn't have it, my mama did. So it was like, it hurt me to see both of them leave me. It was like, what am I going to do now? And I got little sisters that I have to raise. I got brothers that I got to raise. I got a kid.
You have a child?
Yeah. He's 1. His name is Ajante. And yeah, but he's out in Oakland.
So he's in Oakland with who?
He's out there with my grandma.
Your grandmother?
Yeah.
So you're working Figueroa. Do you work for the pimp?
Yeah, I do. I've been working for him since I started. And it's been pretty good.
It's a good relationship?
Yeah, he don't hit you. He don't. And I'm a quiet person when it comes to him yelling at me. I don't talk, do all that reckless stuff and be loud. I just sit there and be quiet, because I just be thinking through my thoughts. Like, I got so much other shit that I could be worried about. That don't faze me,
So he keeps how much of your money?
All of it. But I get anything I want, anytime I want. And that's what I like about it, that I get anything I want, anytime I want. If I want it, I'm going to get it right there, then and there.
So you could get out if you wanted to.
Yeah, I could leave if I wanted to.
But you choose to stay with him because he's treating you well.
Mm-hmm.
You've been arrested out there in the street?
Yep, I have. Tickets and all. But they don't really bother me no more as much. Unless it's, Vice Day or Tuesday or Thursdays. They don't really bother me because I'm not I don't be out there every single day and I don't be naked as much like that either. I have class for myself too. So, yeah. But I have been arrested. I've been arrested for not only prostitution, I've been arrested for stabbing girls, but it was only for my safety. I was helping myself, defending myself. I was held at gunpoint just 3 weeks ago by a pimp, and I thought he was a trick. It was like we was on me and my wifey was on 81st Street, and he was playing as a Mexican, but he wasn't. He was a pimp under the helmet because he was on a motorcycle. So after that, I've never got on a motorcycle again. I got on the motorcycle, and we were just supposed to be going to the Sunrise Motel, which is my motel that I was staying at the time. And we went past it. He went on the freeway. He was driving off fast. I didn't know what to do. I was panicking. He took me to an alley. He put me at gunpoint. And the only way I could really, not get killed is I had to do something. So.
You've had other bad experiences with the Johns you pick up?
You said what?
Have you had bad experiences with the guys that pick you up?
No, not really. Mexicans, sometimes they do play you. They say they got this, but they really don't. That's why I get my money beforehand now. Then I used to pay it. I used to charge them by time, but now it's all together. So.
Do you recall the first time? You were 13 when you started, right?
Yeah.
Do you recall the first time you did this?
The first time I did this, I was scared. I was on 66 and Fig, and you feel me? I didn't know what a pimp was. I didn't know what a hoe was. I just knew what Fig was. So I had a friend telling me about it. So we go on Fig, and the whole time this pimp, I'm thinking he trying to be my boyfriend or something, but it's not even that. He's hopping out the car on me and stuff. I don't know what's going on. So I'm like, why is he getting out the car on me? I'm thinking you have to snatch me up and stuff, but they can't touch you. And if they do, then something gonna happen unless they get away. But I didn't know what was going on. And the guy, another pimp drove past and he was like, well, you out of pocket. What do you expect him to do? And I was like, what's out of pocket? Because I didn't know what that was. And my HP, she told me, she was like, out of pocket is when, but I didn't have no pimp at the time. But out of pocket is when you feeding into a pimp and his ism and stuff, and feeding into everything he's saying, paying attention to him. If you give him a little bit of attention, that's out. They're going to keep turning the corner. They're going to keep doing everything. And they're not going to stop until you either leave or if you don't leave, obviously you like the attention, So I learned to stay in pocket,
What's the worst thing about doing this?
The worst thing about doing this is I feel like if it's slow or the police. That's the worst thing about doing this is the police to me. Even though they say, oh, the police can't do nothing to you on these days, that days. Yeah, that's not true. They can do stuff to you all they want. Some of the police is cool. Yesterday I had a police pull up on me. He was like, what's up? I was like, hey. He was like, you working on Fig tonight? I was like, yep. And he was like, go to Manchester. I said, nope. Cause But yeah, some of the police do be cool and stuff. I be on Long Beach Boulevard too, not just Fig.
There's several different.
I be on Long Beach Boulevard morely at nights because I don't want me risking more of my life on Fig. That's more of a risk to me.
Figueroa is the busiest of the streets, but there's Western, there's Long Beach, and there's other areas too. Long Beach Boulevard. Are drugs a part of your life?
Yeah, I smoke weed, marijuana.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
You get depressed sometimes doing this?
Yeah, a lot of times because the fact that I have a little sister and she's doing it too, it's like, dang, I could have taught her way much more and just, because I was in group homes and stuff too. I would run away from group homes just to, work. But as soon as I got out of that group home stuff, it was like, God was like, he was punishing me in many different ways. And it was just crazy because it was like my sister don't think I love her because of the stuff that I did. She don't think I love her. Me going out on Fig every night, she don't think I love her. I wasn't spending time with her as much as I used to. Nothing was the same. So then she started doing it. And now she think it as, oh, I'm with my sister now. But no, I don't even want her doing this. And I tell her that all the time, but I know I didn't listen. You can't get somebody that don't listen. to listen if they, it's not gonna work. So I try my best, to give her money instead of her working for it as best as I can. So
How old is your sister?
she's 14.
She's working. Do you think you're addicted to the fast money?
Yeah, I am.
The lifestyle of this
Mhm.
is so tempting, right?
It's real tempting because it's fast. It come up fast, and if it's slow, it'll pick up. That's why you keep regulars. Regulars, all you gotta do is call them. Come get me on Fig, money, WAP. You never know how much you're gonna get.
Do you ever look back at your situation and just think, man, this is crazy that I'm doing this?
Yeah, because
It's dangerous.
before I was doing all this, I was still going through depression. I was going through suicide, mental thoughts. I was cutting all that all over my arms, everywhere, just blood. And it was like crazy because I was really going through some stuff. So me thinking about it now, it's like I feel like I changed because I ain't cut in some years.
You haven't.
Yeah,
That's good.
that's heck of good because I was doing it constantly. It was like I couldn't stop because that's the only thing that was taking my pain away. It's not like I could smoke at the time. I wasn't allowed to. So
Do you have dreams or goals that you'd like to?
yeah, I want to do makeup and I want to do nails, and that's what I want to do. I'm about to have my own shop pretty soon here, a nail salon.
That's great.
And it's gonna be a Black-owned business, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be popping. That's gonna be a lot of money.
Good for you.
So yeah,
That'd be great.
that is gonna be great. I just gotta wait for all this stuff to open.
Yeah, it's a hard time right now. Do you think doing this for the last 3 years has changed your personality, changed the way you are?
Yeah, it has. It actually made me a stronger person because I was weak at the time. And not saying weak. I wasn't weak. I was not in the right state of mind. And if you got somebody that can put you in the right state of mind, then you ain't gotta worry as much. So I think I did change a lot. Like I got more into myself, more seeing who myself was, more loving myself. Even though I'm on Fig, I still got time to love myself. And I got somebody telling me all good thoughts, all good knowledge too. So I could still overthink what I've did in the past, think now, and it's like, okay, I see you, China. So it's like,
What advice would you give to a young girl who's considering doing something like what you're doing?
my advice for you is if you're gonna do it, I'm not gonna say because anybody first time, they not gonna know what they're doing. But if you're gonna do it, make sure you do it right. And make sure you're not doing it all your life. Because if you're doing it all your life, where are you getting? You just giving your money to the same person. You're not investing in it. So my advice for you is if you're going to do it, invest in something. Don't just keep doing it all your life because that's out. It's out.
How much do you think your self-worth, just what you believe you deserve in life, plays a part in your decision to do this and getting yourself here? Because if you believe you're destined for something better, you probably wouldn't allow this to happen, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. So you're saying like,
I wonder if you had a rough childhood because you lost your parents, and sometimes if you're not supported the right way, you end up feeling like you don't deserve better things in life.
yeah.
It sounds like you have a good head on your shoulders because you're looking to get out, you're looking to do something productive, and that's great. You finished school early, which is really remarkable. So there's a lot of positives I see.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if there's something that brought you down this path.
What brought me down this path is the group of friends I was hanging around.
Oh, your friends.
Yeah. But I didn't know about nothing about hoeing, pimping, Fig, none of that until I started hanging around with them group of friends. And I thank them group of friends sometimes because it got me somewhere. Some of them friends are still here. I only got, 2 friends that's still here. Other ones, they ran off,
So you have a lot of friends that do this as well.
Yeah, not really friends. I got homegirls. I don't do friends.
Yeah.
It's family.
Do you have any friends?
I got friends, yeah. But they don't do Fig and stuff. I got one friend that do Fig, and she barely be over there. But
How much money do you make in a night?
In a night, I say like, if you working on FIG, by the end of the night, you'll have what, 700, 800 if you're doing it right, or 500 if you're doing it right. But the most I've made in one night is 4 racks.
Is what?
It's 4 racks.
You've made 4,000 in a night.
Yes, in one night. You gotta have a good mouthpiece. Otherwise, Trick's not gonna date you. Yeah.
So when the guys pick you up, you go to the hotels, you go to the car.
You could do car dates, you could do hotels. I like move it in more to the car instead of going to a hotel.
It's faster.
It's faster, and if they want to go to a hotel, I charge them more. And they do it too.
So how many guys will you do this with in a night?
I say like 5, for real. If you keep like, well, not 5, maybe 10, maybe, somewhere near a lot, but not a lot. Not a lot. Because you can get money out of one person over and over and over and over again. You don't got to go to the next person and wait for the next person.
Are you ever tricking guys? Were you getting them to give you money and not having sex with them?
I used to finesse, but
that's part of the game, right?
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Yeah.
They can't do nothing to you if you walk out the door. What
There's a reason
they're
called tricks, right?
Tricks. You're a trick. I tricked you. You know. So, yeah.
Has this changed the way you view men, you think?
Yes, it has a lot, because you would never think like a pimp is really a pimp. Like, you might hear it in songs. I used to hear it in songs and I know what it is, but be saying it. And now I know, and it's like, dang, I was saying all that. Look where I ended up.
Yeah. So the pimps today, they're not driving the big Cadillacs and the flashy clothes. They're more undercover. The modern ones, right? And do they almost look like their boyfriends when they're coming at you, and then all of a sudden you realize that you're giving them their money?
No, because now that I'm been doing this for so long, I know when a pimp is a pimp. I know when you just saying you a drug dealer. Some of the pimps try to play, I'm just a drug dealer. Nah. As soon as I see a black person, I don't care what it is. I walk away. Unless you an old black man, I'll date you. But if you're not, ain't no way.
You stay away from black guys for that reason?
Yeah.
They're always playing games?
Mm-hmm.
All right, China. Well, thank you so much for talking with me.
You're welcome.
And good luck with your dreams. That'd be great to get out and do something like that.
Yeah.
You seem like you get the ability to do that.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, fathers. 2 videos back to back. Fathers, when I was a state juvenile probation officer in the state of Colorado, I worked in the criminal justice system for 20 years. What I can tell you is this: 90 to 95% of the girls 10 to 18 years of age that I supervised were runaways. 90 to 95% of them. They were runaway little girls. That's how they ended up in the criminal justice system. 90% of them were abusing drugs and alcohol. So 90 to 95% of the little girls I supervised, runaway little girls. 90% of them abused drugs and alcohol. And all of them were dealing with mental health. Because when you live that lifestyle, it's going to affect your mental health. It just is. They're baby girls. Fathers were nowhere to be found, nowhere to be seen. And what's very similar, I've got a few more videos that are coming up. Both these young ladies talking about cutting themselves. Okay. I got a few videos coming up talking about cutting. and why girls cut themselves. All these issues that these baby girls are facing because the world doesn't give a shit about them once they're out there. See, predators, they're not 50, 60, 70, 80 sitting behind a computer. Predators are 15 through 20, 20 through 30, 30 through 40, 40 through 50, 50 through 60, 60 through 70. Those are the range of predators. That's what the world produces when fathers do not provide protection and safety for their baby girls. They were both in the foster care system, according to them, right? I've got a live stream coming, I think within the next month, month and a half, that I'm going to be talking about the failure, how the child care system, how foster care in the United States, it's a broken system. I had a lot of kids that were in foster care that I supervised on juvenile probation. They were jacked up. They were jacked up children because so many of these children, not all of them, but so many of them end up being sexually assaulted, being abused by the foster parents. Not all of them. I want to make that perfectly clear. But a lot of them do. And the foster care system in the United States of America, it's broken. It is. It's completely broken. So fathers of daughters, those were back-to-back videos. Wanted to share them with you so you could see exactly visually what could happen to our baby girls if we are not there. That's what can happen to them. Period. One of the things, raising 4 daughters myself, working in the criminal justice system, there was no way on God's green earth this was going to happen to my baby girls. No way. No how. Wasn't happening. I made damn sure my daughters were not going to end up like so many of these baby girls, fending for themselves, just trying to survive, trying to stay alive. These young women, mentally, they're going to have issues for the rest of their life because of the things that have happened to them. They've been failed by adults after adults after adults. So many adults have failed these children. The village has not helped raising these baby girls. It has not. And a lot of adult humans have failed these baby girls. So you can just look at them. They're hard little girls. They're hard. And the reason that they're hard is because this is what children do. Children, honestly, they have the ability to trust adults. Even when adults victimize them, take advantage of them, hurt them, she'll still yearn for the love of adults because they're very resilient. So fathers, this is the real deal. This is what can happen if we are not there, birth to 18. The world is waiting for them. And predators don't give a damn. They just don't. So, all right, fathers, the next 2 videos I'm going to show back to back are talking about mental health in our baby girls. Let me get it set up.
Well, new at 4 o'clock this week.
Okay, fathers, next 2 videos will be back to back.
Well, new at 4 o'clock this week, an alarming new study showed around 1 in 3 high school girls in the U.S. have seriously considered attempting suicide. That's according to new results from a CDC survey from 2021. And more than half of teen girls, 57%, reported feeling persistently sad or hopeless, a record high number. Joining us now is Dr. Shanti Mogali, the chair of psychiatry at Lawrence and Memorial Hospital. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Erin.
Well, these are scary statistics, to say the very least, especially if you have a teenager at home right now. What should parents be doing to try and help their daughters here?
Absolutely. It is a big issue. Being here in the hospital, we see it every day. Our emergency rooms are full of kids regularly, which is very unusual. And this has been a huge increase in the last 10 years. Most of us can remember it is really hard being a teenager. And as a parent, it is so important to start looking at some of the triggers that might trigger your own child. So, for example, some things that may destabilize your child is a feeling of rejection. Dating can be very difficult. A feeling of failure from school expectations or athletic performances, breakups, and of course, any family turmoil that children are subject to can definitely create some disturbances in children's moods and anxieties. So, looking out for warning signs that your teen is having some difficulty managing. Oftentimes, teenagers are going to be teenagers. They're going to withdraw. They're going to want to be alone. But just noticing subtle changes in social withdrawal or mood swings, or teenagers who are having increased sensitivities, changes in their sleep patterns or eating. These are all sort of red flags that you want to be aware of as a parent. Panic attacks have been a very common sign that we're seeing as kind of a first realization that children are having a hard time. And many children out there have already sought out mental health care. We see more students that are in therapy and on medication management. So one thing that is important for many parents to know is that sometimes treatment providers will make some changes in medications or start medications. Oftentimes, it's not communicated that parents should be aware that a high risk time is after medication changes. So you might see more impulsivity. Sometimes kids are feeling a little bit more energetic and may feel more courageous to do something to harm themselves. So it's important to just be aware of those types of symptoms.
We all know the teenage years can be very challenging for a myriad of reasons, but these are record high numbers. We're talking about more than 50%, more than half of girls who are teenagers right now in this study are saying they feel sad or hopeless. Why are we seeing these record high numbers?
There's so many complicating factors right now. COVID took a huge hit on teenager mentality. Cyberbullying has been a very common cause of distress amongst teenage girls specifically. And what I mean by cyberbullying is social media. Social media creates a forum where girls can say mean things to other girls. And a lot of people are not prepared as how to deal with that best. And bullying at school is still a very common thing that hasn't stopped. And then also there's substance use. So girls are now predominantly experimenting over boys when it comes to alcohol, marijuana, e-cigs, even prescription opiate pills. We've all heard about the epidemic of substance use, especially with fentanyl and opiates. So we're seeing more girls involving in these behaviors. And you can imagine anytime young girls are getting involved in substance use, you're increasing the risk of exposure to sexual violence, which in turn can lead to trauma, depression, anxiety. So it's very important just to keep aware of what your kids are getting involved in.
I want to get to this quickly. If you think that your daughter, your granddaughter, your friend needs help, what are the resources available to them?
Absolutely. Now, you should always seek any kind of medical treatment for your teen. There are long wait times to get to see a professional. Do not hesitate. If you hear there's a couple months of a wait, please just get your name on somebody's list to sign up for therapy or medication management. You can always start off with your pediatrician, but ultimately it might be helpful to get to a psychiatrist who can diagnose and treat mental illness. Now, if you think your teen is in imminent danger, which means that you think something is about to happen, you should always go to your nearest emergency room or call 911. You can always call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, which is 988. They are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And for any other resources in mental health in Connecticut, you can always call 211. And there is a crisis text line where you can text HOME, all caps, to 741-741.
All right, it's a hard topic to talk about, but so important. Dr. Shanti Mogali, the chair of psychiatry at Lawrence and Memorial Hospital. Thank you again for your insight and expertise. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
CBS CBS News Texas is committed to supporting your mental health, really focusing on issues and helping connect you to resources in our community. So tonight we're going to take a closer look at teen girls in crisis. The CDC is reporting they're facing higher levels of sadness and hopelessness. And our Caroline Vandergriff is sharing the challenges and the help that's available.
Being a teen girl isn't easy.
A lot of comparing and trying to fit into things. I feel like that's a major thing.
From having to do better, get better grades, study harder. It's a lot.
And all of those pressures impact mental health. Nearly 3 in 5 teen girls in the U.S. felt persistently sad or hopeless in 2021, according to a CDC study released this year. That's an almost 60% increase over the past decade. The data also revealed 24% of high school girls had seriously considered suicide.
I see it everywhere. And so no, it doesn't surprise me because it's everywhere.
That's why Zanaya Bailey and Kayla Graham joined the Hope Squad at Everman High School. It's a peer-to-peer suicide prevention program.
It's more easier to go and talk to somebody that is around your age because they might have gone through what you've gone through, or they can relate to it.
Both girls have listened to classmates who were struggling and connected them to a trusted adult who could help.
So our Hope Squad members are the eyes, ears, and even heart of a school.
Right now, Hope Squad is in 114 schools across 20 North Texas school districts with the ability to impact more than 100,000 students. 40 more schools plan to implement the program this fall. Organizers say it saved countless lives.
And so when we can be direct about suicide and say, I saw you post this. Are you thinking about suicide? What we know is that lowers anxiety, opens up communication, and it reduces the chance of a suicidal act.
Initiating conversations about mental health and suicide is hard, but psychologists say it's key to reaching young people dealing with anxiety and depression.
People do want to be there for you, as lonely as it may feel. Sometimes it isn't something that's going to last forever, and that somebody can help you.
That support from someone at home or at school can make young girls feel less lonely.
Something that sounds like you're listening and you're understanding what I'm saying.
Because now students, they know I have somebody I can talk to. I have somebody I can go to for this. I don't have to do it alone or anything. There's people I can trust. So we provide that.
Giving both help and hope. In Everman, Caroline Vandergriff, CBS News, Texas.
Okay, fathers, 2 more excellent videos. And it's one thing we definitely have to be paying attention to is our daughter's mental health, fathers. When our daughter's going through puberty and, being in middle school, being in high school, their peer pressure, the peer group, we have to be aware who their friends are and who they're hanging out with, fathers. When I was the dean of students in middle school and high school, most little girls, when they transition to middle school, a lot of them are just going to struggle. And the reason that a lot of them struggle is the transition to middle school is because they're going to be around and meeting new kids that are different than them, who may not be their friends that they grew up with. And it's a bigger environment. It's an adjustment for our baby girls. Middle school is an adjustment. I've done a few videos talking about middle school, and all the videos that I have today, every time I do a live stream, all videos are in the description, fathers. So you will always have these videos that we are watching on the live stream. But most of our daughters are going to struggle with the transition of middle school. And I call middle school the mean girl stage, because little girls can be nasty. They could be mean. And it's going to be difficult transition-wise for a lot of our daughters. So just want to share those 2 videos as well, fathers. And, you know, just, get you to understand these things are coming. It's not to say our daughters are going to fall and their mental health's going to take a hit or anything like that. But what I do here at Grow Dad YouTube channel, in my book, Daddy's Girls, which is available at Amazon.com, my book, Daddy's Girls, and my videos, my live streams, they're complementary of each other, fathers of baby girls. So I encourage you to get my book as well. So that way my book will give you a broader understanding of exactly why I'm doing my live streams and the videos the way that I'm doing them. And like I said, fathers, puberty for our daughters is challenging in itself. And we just have to be paying attention, fathers. We really, really have to be paying attention of what is going on with our baby girls and who their peer group is and who they're hanging out with. And if their moods change, if they have emotional highs and emotional lows, we got to make sure their personalities aren't changing. But we have to be paying attention and having these daily conversations with our daughters, fathers. That's the only way that we're going to stay on top of it. Okay? All right, let's take a look at these next videos, fathers. They're going to be back to back as well, talking about substance abuse.
It may seem common for young people to experiment with different substances, like vaping, weed, tobacco, Molly, and alcohol. Some may even consider hard drugs such as cocaine, meth, or opioids like heroin. Regardless of the substance, if it's not prescribed by a doctor and taken as prescribed, experimenting with substances can have negative effects. Meet Jeremiah. Jeremiah hangs out with his friends on the weekends. They drink alcohol and occasionally smoke marijuana to relax and get away from the stresses of life and school. One time at a party, Jeremiah smoked something a girl handed to him, not knowing what it was. Later, he found out that it was K2, a synthetic type of weed. His friends told him that he was hilarious and started acting crazy, and that they couldn't wait to party with him again. Jeremiah was concerned because he has no memory of what happened. He wants to be with his friends and have a good time, but he hated not remembering and doesn't want to take another substance like that again. He also feels new pressure to be the life of the party and act a certain way. What happened to Jeremiah is all too common. You start out taking one substance and end up taking something else. A danger in using any substance that isn't prescribed to you is not knowing exactly what it is you're taking and how it will impact you. Unfortunately, young people are being exposed to substances that can have dangerous physical and mental health consequences. As a good rule of thumb, if a drug isn't prescribed to you, you shouldn't take it. Pretty quickly, what feels like casual or experimental substance use can turn into a substance use problem, which has long-lasting and negative consequences. Before you decide to use a substance, know the risks and potential consequences, or reach out to a counselor to talk about it.
Teenagers seeking help for substance abuse treatment say they most often turn to drugs and alcohol to de-stress, according to new research published today by the CDC.
The results looked at young people between 13 and 18, and the findings follow reports of rampant anxiety and depression in that age group as well. NBC News medical reporter Erica Edwards has been digging into this for us. Erica, it sort of seems on its face like this generation is self-medicating. Am I reading that right?
That's exactly what the experts are saying, Kate. You know, the vast majority of teens surveyed here, nearly 3/4, said that they were using drugs and alcohol to chill out, basically, to become more relaxed. But I really want to point out that 44% used so they could sleep better and stop worrying or forget bad memories. And 40% said that they thought it would help with their depression or anxiety. Now, most of the time they were using some form of marijuana. Almost half reported drinking alcohol, and about 20% said that they had used over-the-counter drugs like cough syrup or prescription strength pain relievers or sedatives. Kate, Sinclair?
And Erica, briefly, it seems that the substance abuse is not happening in a silo. An expert you spoke with said that 75% of young people with a substance use disorder also have a mental health condition. So what do those results tell us about interventions needed?
Yeah, that's right. Experts say that substance abuse generally goes hand in hand with mental health problems. And here's really the takeaway for parents. If a child says, gosh, I'm using drugs or whatever to combat my anxiety, even if you don't think that they're using that much, maybe it was just a one-time thing, experts say that's actually a big red warning sign to get that child help early.
And just quickly, one more question for you. They talked about where and when in this report young people are using drugs. What did they find?
Half of these kids said that they were using alone, often in their bedrooms, using opioid pain relievers. And that's really the scary part of this, because that's when deadly overdoses occur, because no one is there to call 911 or administer Narcan. The supply that kids are getting on the street or even from their friends is often counterfeit and laced with dangerous and powerful drugs. Kate,
I'm going to say it again. Do not take a pill if you don't know where it came from. Don't do it. It's too dangerous. Erica, thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
Okay, fathers of Gen Z and Gen Alpha daughters. Got to be paying attention, fathers. Got to be paying attention. And this is why I named this video The Consequences of an Absent Father. The struggle is real, fathers. The struggle is real. So, substances, like I said, when I was a state juvenile probation officer, 90% of the girls use drugs and alcohol. And the majority of them have mental health issues. That's how they ended up on juvenile probation. Self-medication is real. Saw it a lot when I was a dean of students as well. Self-medication is real with our children, with our baby girls. So not having your father in your life has dire consequences. Dire. I'm not here to scare any father. What I am here is to help educate. And it's better to be in the front end of education than the back end of the criminal justice system, fathers. It is. Because, like I said, once the government gets involved in your life, in the parent's life, the family unit will no longer be the same. I promise you it won't. And fathers, you don't want to test that theory. Trust me, you don't. Because your family will never be the same. It just isn't. Too many voices in a child's head, and they're not stable, chances are they're going to go against their parents. That's my experience. That's what I saw. That's what I dealt with daily, 20 years. Okay, fathers, we have these last 3 videos, self-harm. Okay, I'm going to run them back to back to back. And then when videos are done, we will end this live stream. Fathers, I want to thank you and I appreciate you. I thank you for being here and being present. For those of you that are following me, thank you. And you do see on my YouTube channel, I do not have a Cash App. I do not have PayPal. I do not have a Patreon. Everything that I do here at Grow That YouTube channel is to give back to fathers. This is my way of giving back. I will never ask any of you for money. If you want to support what I do, purchase my book. So that way you can have a better understanding and the complementary of my book that goes hand in hand with my live streams and my videos, okay? It's a 2-package deal. And you need to have both to understand. All right, fathers, let's look at these last 3 videos and we're going to wrap up this live stream.
Norfolk, mental health advocate Charlotte Underwood, who self-harmed from the ages of 14 to 20. Charlotte, a very good morning to you, and thanks for coming on to talk about this. I think you're 22 now. Why did you begin self-harming? What form did it take?
I didn't start self-harming on purpose. It was something that just developed after feeling quite anxious and alone. I was quite heavy in my cutting, but it was because I had no healthy outlet and I just didn't know where else to turn.
What do you say to those people who heard what you just said and say, well, anxiety and loneliness have been part and parcel of being a teenager for as long as there have been teenagers, but people didn't used to resort to cutting, as you say?
I think it's more to do with the way the world has changed and the lack of communication between all of us, really. And at the same time, there is more to self-harm than just cutting. So whether it didn't exist before is definitely questionable.
When you say we don't talk to each other anymore, I think I paraphrase what you said there. Is that a function of social media, that lots of young people now exist in a bubble that's created by their online life?
Definitely. Something I always say is that in a world of mass communication, we've learned how to properly communicate. And I think that applies quite well to that.
Was there anything specifically which prompted you to do it? Was there one event, or was it an accumulation of things?
It was, it was an accumulation of feeling very unwell for a long time, but not understanding what was going on in myself. So I had a mental illness, but I didn't know I had it, and that was terrifying.
And what did it take for you to break the cycle? Did it require outside help, or was it just something you were able to work through yourself?
It's something that took 8 years of perseverance and accepting the ups and downs and learning to talk about it and get those feelings out of my head and finding healthy outlets rather than the not so good ones like self-harm.
Yeah. Reading this morning a bit more about this, words like romanticizing, glamorizing self-harm, which seem completely paradoxical. How is it even possible to glamorize self-harming? Is it?
I don't think it is. I think it's that stigma where people are maybe trying to avoid talking about it and spin it into something even worse than it is.
If you are somebody perhaps on the brink of going back to school, maybe thinking hard about exams that are looming, and you think that perhaps this is an avenue you may consider going down if you're a young person, a teenager, in particular a girl, because this is something which we're told affects girls far more than boys. What's your message to somebody who's contemplating doing something like this?
You never know what someone's going to say to you if you tell them that you need help. You don't have to suffer alone. People will listen, and you can learn to not self-harm or prevent it, and I guess stop those thoughts just by having a healthy outlet and having someone to talk to.
Charlotte, you've talked to us this morning. We appreciate it. Thanks very much indeed. Charlotte
Thank
Underwood
you.
joining us from Norfolk. Thanks a lot.
Why do teens cut them? What is the deal with cutting? Why do teens cut themselves? As a professional psychologist, I know some answers to that, and some of these are going to surprise you. In order to understand this tricky problem, let's start with what it is not. It is not an attempt to get attention. Sometimes it gets chalked up as that, but usually they try to hide it. Most cutting that is done by teenagers is in a place where it can't be seen easily, something that's covered by their clothing or something that they can easily hide from others. It's not an attempt to get attention. It is also not typically suicidal behavior. I've interviewed a lot of teenagers who have been in this position, and typically
Okay, fathers, I apologize.
they're
I'm having
not
internet
trying
issues.
to end their life. There's a different factor in play, and we'll come back to that in just a little bit. It's often misunderstood as suicidal behavior. It's usually not. Cutting is usually not, air quotes, self-harm or self-punishment. Although cutting is often associated with low self-esteem or depression or guilt or shame. These are very common feelings that are manifested. But the cutting itself is typically not self-harm or self-punishment. That's not the objective for the cutting. Cutting sometimes gets a bad rap as being an attempt to manipulate others. Self-cutting is not manipulation. Although people who are engaged in cutting behavior typically need help and support and attention from others, the cutting isn't for that purpose, to manipulate others. It is a sign or a signal or a symptom that they really do need some help and support, but it's not done for that purpose. I think this is particularly important to understand because people who are in this position typically have a really hard time asking for support in appropriate ways. It's probably a lot more useful to think of this problem as pain management. This is the part that I thought might surprise you. If it's not all of those things that we just discussed, then what is it? Most people who are cutting experience intense emotional pain. This can take many different forms. Sometimes it's insecurity or depression or shame or guilt. Often it's chronic. It's built up over a period of time, and this creates a lot of emotional pain. Cutting, for a lot of different reasons, tends to bring that pain into some level of control. That might seem strange. I'll explain more about that in just a little bit. I'm wondering if you have any experience with this, either personally or with someone that you know very well. If you can contribute to this conversation, go to the comments and just let us know whether this resonates with you. Pain management. Cutting is pain management. I've shared that with many of my clients who are in that position, and they nod their heads and they say, yeah, that's what it's all about. When we think of it in this way, then cutting simply becomes a symptom of a deeper problem that's causing the emotional pain. This also can inform how we respond to it, because we can address the pain instead of just focusing on the symptom. Now that we know this is more about pain management, Let's look at two different kinds of pain here, and it will help us to understand the dynamic. There's physical pain and there's psychological pain. Now, of the two, physical pain is easier to deal with. I know that might sound surprising, but I've got this on good authority because a lot of people have told me this. Physical pain is visible and it's concrete and it's something that I can wrap my head around, easier than emotional or psychological pain. Physical pain also triggers your body's natural painkiller responses. When you get hurt, for example, your body will go into a protective mode where it secretes different chemicals into your bloodstream. And these things are designed to help you deal with the physical pain that's happening. Those same chemicals and processes can address emotional pain, but emotional pain doesn't always trigger the same response. So the physical pain that is caused by cutting actually activates the body to take care of all kinds of pain, including the physical and the psychological pain. Of the two kinds of pain, physical pain represents something that is more easily controlled or manipulated. This perception of control makes it a very attractive means for triggering those natural chemical responses in the body that help to address the pain. It's actually quite effective. It's kind of dangerous though, and that's why the concern. And as parents or helping professionals, this is what becomes so alarming. Even though cutting is not typically suicidal in nature, it is dangerous. It can cause complications, illness, or even death because of the dangerous nature of what we're dealing with. So even though it's effective in addressing the pain, it's maladaptive and dangerous. That's why we want to address it and find better ways to handle the pain. So let's take all of this information and see if we can hone in on what to do if someone that we love is cutting. First of all, don't freak out. To react strongly sends the wrong message. It says, look, I'm not open to this. I can't have this conversation with you. You are freaking me out. And it's pretty common, actually, for parents, especially, to have that kind of a reaction if they find out that their child or their teen is cutting. Because you're here watching this video, I can tell you want to wrap your head around this thing in a way that allows you to respond appropriately. If you've already freaked out, that's okay. Just apologize. Let your loved one know that you're learning more and that you're finding out things that you didn't know about this. That's important, I think, to be humble enough to acknowledge that we're still learning too. And then open up those lines of communication. We do not want to instill more guilt or more shame around this behavior. Remember, they're doing it to manage those kinds of feelings in the first place. So the last thing we want to do is increase that. Approach them with a loving, supportive tone without freaking out or condemning the behavior, telling them they have to stop. Simply just show a supportive, loving approach. Now, the next thing that we want to do is keep those lines of communication open. You've already done that by approaching them in a calm, loving, supportive way. Let them know we can talk about anything. Let them know that this topic doesn't scare you, even if it does. Okay? Hopefully this video will help you to get on top of that a little bit. And that allows you as a parent to approach them in a more helpful way, a parent or a loved one. And you don't have to do this on your own. In fact, usually if it's gotten to the point where cutting is the preferred method of pain management, they need to work through some emotional pain. And it might be appropriate for you to engage a therapist or a counselor or a coach. This is typically indicative of a clinical need for help. reach out and get the help that you need. There are a lot of community resources available. You can consult with your physician or with a local therapist or psychologist to help you with this. You can come over to Live on Purpose Central and talk to one of our coaches. We'll try to get you pointed in the right direction. Get some help. You don't have to do this on your own. Because you've watched this video through to the end, that tells me that you've probably got someone in mind who could really use this information. Would you please share this video with them? And if you would like additional coaching support, our team is ready to help you any way that we can. Please reach out to us through drpauljenkins.com/breakthrough call. We'll get one of our coaches on the phone with you.
Head was down, face locked onto the phone. And I wished I'd had a number so I could be color.
The side effects of the pandemic are becoming more visible, especially when it comes to the younger generation. A new Virginia Department of Health report on self-harm and suicide in kids and teens gives a look at how deep some wounds go. From 2016 to 2021, there were more than 58,000 self-harm emergency department visits from kids between the ages of 9 and 18. Visits for suicidal thoughts, self-harm, or suicide attempts. The number of those visits in 2021 more than doubled those in 2016.
Did the pandemic exacerbate the pain and challenges that people have?
I believe so. Blanca Estrada is a licensed professional counselor with 25 years of experience in children and adolescent trauma. She says trauma amplified during the pandemic, which can show itself in the form of anxiety, cutting, substance abuse, and suicide, as shown by the Department of Health. Self-harm emergency visits increased 129% in boys and 190% in girls over the course of 5 years.
A lot of them are not necessarily trying to kill themselves, or really are just trying to stop the pain.
As for what can be done to make things better and heal the trauma, Estrada recommends tuning into your children's feelings.
We just need to continue to give people a chance to really validate, to see them.
All right, so you may be watching this and wondering about the warning signs. So here's what to look out for. Signs that someone is talking about feeling hopeless, or feeling like they're a burden to others, or suddenly behaving recklessly or showing rage. It can show itself in many forms and can be new behaviors that seem to come out of nowhere. Now, these are some of the examples listed by the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is a great resource for anyone experiencing or knows someone who's experiencing depression. We can't say it enough. If you or anyone you know might need help, it is out there. You can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, that number right there on your screen, 1-800-273-8255. It is free, confidential, and available 24/7.
Okay, fathers, another live stream. The consequences of an absent father. Struggle is real, fathers. The struggle is real. Okay, fathers, that wraps up another live stream. And just wanted to share. And like I said, fathers, birth to 18 years of age, if we're not a part of our daughters' lives, the world and predators are waiting for them. And our daughters can and will end up in situations that they cannot get themselves out of. So fathers, I need you to dig deep. I need you to take the resources that are necessary. I need you to be consistent in your daughters' lives. Okay. Thank you, fathers, for being present. Mi amigos, hasta la semana que viene en paz. I appreciate you. Until next week, fathers, you know the routine. This is Ephraim B. Martin. I'm out. Peace.